On Monday, the lieutenant governor of Georgia gave Atlanta-based Delta Airlines a choice: restore travel discounts to NRA members, or he personally would lead the charge to kill a jet fuel sales tax exemption that benefits the company. Well, Delta decided not to obey. The company is standing firm in severing its ties to the NRA. And on Thursday, Georgia lawmakers followed through on the lieutenant governor's threat. The Republican majority passed a tax cut bill that did not include an exemption for the jet fuel sales tax that Delta used to enjoy. Delta's response: our values are not for sale. And though the bill passed without the jet fuel exemption, Governor Nathan Deal is considering a separate bill that will include it. And joining me now is the mayor of Columbus, Georgia, Teresa Tomlinson, and former Georgia House Minority Leader Stacey Abrams. Stacey is also running against Lieutenant Governor Casey Cagle for the governorship of Georgia. And I'm going to start with you, Stacey, on this, on that threat. Delta Airlines is not a small corporate citizen in Georgia. It's a pretty big one. The economic impact of Delta on Georgia, according to a 2016 report, it's the #1 private employer in the state. It added more than 6,500 state employees since 2008. It contributes $300 million annually to the state and local government through taxes and fees, and it donated over $10 million to local charities and organizations, according to Delta's website. And it also has not always been hubbed out of the state of Georgia. Already, since the threat by Casey Cagle, Delta has had invitations from the governors of Virginia, the governor of Ohio, and others who have said they can come there. Has Mr. Cagle made a mistake, in your view, by threatening this huge corporate citizen of the state of Georgia?
Absolutely. There's no question that by invoking his power as lieutenant governor to threaten a corporate citizen who simply wanted to exercise its rights, that he made a terrible mistake. And while there is an economic dimension to how Lieutenant Governor Cagle threatened Delta, let's not lose sight of the human dimension of this issue. This is about gun safety. This is about children dying. And unfortunately, Lieutenant Governor Cagle decided to make this about his campaign for governor. And unfortunately, on both sides of the aisle, we have people who are using this incredibly tragic moment, but also this opportunity for change as a way to, I think, distract us from the real issue at hand, which is the need for gun safety in America. And
Teresa, in addition to being a mayor, you're also an attorney. So I want to ask you about the legality and the ethics. I'm going to put that tweet up again that Casey Cagle originally tweeted out. I will kill any tax legislation that benefits Delta unless the company changes position and fully reinstates its relationship with the NRA. Is there an ethical or legal problem with him having done that?
Well, you don't have to be a lawyer to know it's certainly unseemly. It looks to be political blackmail or political extortion, certainly. But we did have a Democrat candidate for governor, Stacey Evans, who's actually referred this to the Attorney General on the grounds of extortion, bribery, and violations of ethics. I would say that we have a Republican Attorney General. He's been appointed. He's up for re-election this time, so we don't know exactly where that's going to go. Tell you who really has a claim here is Delta. Frankly, they have a First Amendment right violation against the state of Georgia, a claim that's valued, Georgia admits, to be about $50 million. You cannot, by official state action, infringe upon the rights of commercial or political free speech, which they have done. And I'll remind people, many people forget this, but in 2015, Delta had this tax break for some period of time. When Delta spoke out against the religious liberty bill, it was stripped from them by the Republican legislature. They have all agreed that Georgia needs this for jobs and to promote this Georgia brand, Delta. And so they were going to put it back in, and now it was pulled away from them again because they exercised their commercial and free speech related to the NRA.
Yeah.
So they're really the ones with the claim.
And very quickly, Stacey, you are running against Stacey Evans. The two of you are locked in a very tight battle in terms of the primary. We can put up that poll there. And then you against Casey Cagle. It's pretty tight. Is gun reform an issue Democrats can win on in the state of Georgia?
Yes. And I want to point out, I'm the only candidate running who has never received the stamp of approval from the NRA on the Democratic or Republican side. My opponent, Ms. Evans, received a B+ rating from the NRA for voting for one of the most egregious gun bills that we've seen come through the state of Georgia. And I'm running because I believe that now is the time to have a conversation about common sense gun safety that doesn't infringe on anyone's rights but protects families, protects children, protects people from suicide, and makes certain that we have the kind of preventative measures put in place, like bans on assault weapons and universal background checks that can save lives in the state of Georgia.
All right, I wish we had more time. Mayor Teresa Tomlinson, Stacey Abrams, thank you both. Really appreciate you both being here. More AMJ after the break.